This is the proposal for My UNLV Mobile, brought to you by Team 7. So a brief introduction, MyUNLV is troublesome when you access it on a mobile device. We took observations of new and experienced users of MyUNLV to show what issues need to be addressed. And to combat these issues, we propose creating a mobile application dedicated to browsing MyUNLV, and we have developed an implementation plan. To begin, we'll start with the observations and their analysis. So we gathered user data in 2 sessions: observation of a student who is familiar with using MyUNLV and observations of someone who has no experience with MyUNLV whatsoever. Both of these users were given the same set of tasks to complete. Search for 3 courses to enroll in, view and access information on 3 pages. These were the financial aid, the communication center, which is within the tasks page, and the resources page. During each session, a stopwatch was used to time how long each user took to complete each task. Users were also given any freedom to make any comments during the completion of each task in regards to the usage and navigation of MyUNLV. Each user was allowed to complete each task in whichever order they pleased. The observations were collected and organized into a user experience map. This map is a tool used to organize and rank observations that we collected. It's a visual device that allowed us to clearly identify the pain points and user goals. How to read our map is actually very simple. Yellow tags are the attempted tasks each user performed. Orange tags are the first-time user observations. Blue tags are experienced user observations. Pink tags are the technical issues experienced by both users. Green tags are the user goals. And through the use of the experience map, we were able to identify some clear pain points. UNLV is user unfriendly, meaning it is difficult to navigate, collapse many small buttons, and some buttons not working. And the fact that some menus are just not visible led to a lot of time consumption and made it very hard to navigate. The fact it's on a mobile browser can prevent MyUNLV from making the full extension of the use. And then the limitations of the site format and incompatibility with mobile browsers limit accessing MyUNLV to a desktop, which makes it very inconvenient to use. And that's why that mobile pinpoint is going to be called mobile inaccessibility. Class search difficulty refers to users lacking outside assistance or experience with this feature really can't make the full use of it, and that makes it almost useless. And the lack of information on the courses to search for within MyUNLV has added to that difficulty. And failing communication mostly refers to notifications, but not just from the communication center or the tasks page, but from financial aid as well. Right now, notifications from MyUNLV exist either within MyUNLV itself or emails sent externally. Beyond that, there's no immediate external notification requiring students to actually go back in and check MyUNLV frequently. And the lack of organization of the messages and the inability to mark them as read makes it harder to identify which messages are new and which ones are just old messages that have already been looked at. We created some solutions based on these pain points. The first one, create a mobile application. A mobile application allows for the opportunity to reorganize MyUNLV. Its function and compatibility with the mobile devices allows for an app to be a better option than the mobile browser. Most, if not all, the pain points were actually addressed with a mobile application. So it really comes down to being our priority and best solution. The next solution is called Degree Sheet and Class Comparison. It's called that because a degree sheet is a tool that's already been provided by the university to allow students to look at their courses and plan for the next semester. If we incorporate this into MyUNLV so they can directly view their degree sheet and the necessary courses required, it allows them to have better planning and scheduling and searching for their classes, and new students can already look within their chosen major and see which courses they need to complete, which would not require outside assistance as much as it has before. Also, they can take better time to track what has been completed and what needs to be completed with their own degree sheet right in MyUNLV. And we'd also want to add an indicator of prerequisite courses. That way, a student does not have to waste their time trying to enroll in a course that they are unable to take yet anyways, and add a new feature to allow them to compare their better scheduling options before enrollment to make planning each semester a lot easier for each student. We also want to reorganize MyUNLV's layout. The Student Center Classic and the resources page are not really necessary to the app and what students will need from it, so they're not going to be incorporated into the mobile application. They can stay on the website version. However, other menus will be collapsed into new groups. Academic planning and scheduling will contain the enrollment, view grades, admissions, academic progress, and academic records page. These are all separate pages in MyUNLV with their own separate options within them. However, putting them in the subgroup academic planning and scheduling allows for a more simplistic view of the application itself, and students will have a better time finding exactly what they need with this organization. The same goes for cashiering and financial aid, which is an actual department at MyUNLV. There's a cashiering and financial aid departments. That's why we named a My Account, where students would make payments, track their payment scheduling, and enroll in payment plans, and the financial aid, which allows a student to look at the financial aid information within the subgroup cashiering and financial aid. However, there are some menus that remain as a separate group. Tasks is a page that has a to-do list and the communication center, and we felt that it did not need to be put into a new category. The personal information page also seemed necessary to remain separate, and the settings page would remain separate as well. However, within the settings page, there would also be the ability to manage notifications, change the appearance of the application, and a clear option to change the password when a student is logging into MyUNLV. And now we will present our prototype using Figma. All right. So this is what a home screen of an Android device would look like. The MyUNLV app is indicated by its icon right above the calendar. Let's go ahead and open it. We can assume that the student has already put in their login information. So their entry ID and their password is there. We just need to click login. Let's enroll in a class. So we'd click on academic planning and scheduling. We'd click on enrollment and class search and enroll. And keep in mind, the organization of all this app is the same as the UNLV website. We did not change the order. We simply changed how it is displayed. We're going to search for a course. Let's pretend we're looking for English 102. So we click the search button. After that was entered, we look at different times, and if it looks like Jimmy Kimmel's course doesn't have any set meeting times because it is remote learning. We know there's a prerequisite of English 101, but for the sake of our time, we already took English 101. So, and it looks like John Doe has the best meeting time. We'll add that to compare courses, which takes us to the compare courses section. Now, looks like Dwayne Johnson is going to be teaching Geology 101, and John Doe is going to be teaching English 102. There's meeting times on both Monday and Wednesday, and it looks like there's no conflict of time, but there's still other courses to search. So for the time being, we'll just leave this on the list and go home, because now it is time to look at financial aid. Now, as you saw, I'll go back home one more time. I just click financial cashiering and financial aid. Now there's my account. I don't need to make a payment yet. The semester is yet to begin. So I'll click financial aid. And now there's awards and financial aid summary, which are both options within the desktop. And of course, because there's different information varying, we have decided not to put in actual display of awards or financial aid summary, just to leave it more vague and give an idea of what it would look like. So for the time being, we can assume that clicking from here would show some personal information that doesn't need to be shown. Next, tasks. A lot of these tasks, when you click on them, usually they give information of something that needs to be done externally, whether it's treating a vaccine information, a late payment, or simply meeting the minimum grade requirement. All that is given within notifications. The communications, there's one, but for the sake of argument, these have all been addressed. So let's simply click mark as read, which is done now, and we'll go home. But finally, I want to change the settings. I want to change how I manage my notifications. Right now, push notifications are enabled, but I'm waiting on some financial aid because I'd like some of that to help pay for courses next semester. So to make sure that it shows up, I'll click enable push notifications, and now those will appear on my phone as convenient as possible. Now we'll go home. I also want to look at the display settings, change the background color, font style, and the color and size, make it easier on the eyes. However, I already kind of like these settings, so I'll just go home. And now I'm done using my UNLV, so I'll simply click log out.
Thank you, Wesley. My name is Danielle Bennett, and I'm going to be showing you guys who our app is going to be for. Starting with persona number 1, who is Russ the Fuss. He is called Russ the Fuss because he likes to be quick with things and try to complete all of his tasks regarding school and work as quickly as possible. And he's known for complaining about it. So he is in his 3rd year at UNLV as a business marketing major. He is in a fraternity and great with technology. Like he likes to call himself super high tech and feels like he has a good feel on how to work his phone and computer and stuff. And when using my UNLV, has a couple of issues. One being enrollment. He wants it to be a quick and easy process, and he feels that using my UNLV the way it is, it becomes hard to find his required courses for his major, and it's hard to compare courses when looking at the times and the location and the professors. So he feels like that could be improved, and it's just a hassle for him. He also doesn't like how he can never find resources through my UNLV if he's looking for numbers for different professors or different buildings or maps or anything. He feels like he can never find. And he actually thinks that instead of my UNLV being the browser, it should be also available as an app with the same functions. So next we have Professor Stewart, who is a UNLV professor. She has been for 25 years. She's also a UNLV alumni, someone who also uses my UNLV that's not a student. She goes to all the UNLV sports events, anything to stay involved. She likes to be very involved. And she is a little old school and not so great with technology. So although she wants to use UNLV resources like my UNLV, she kind of steers away from it because she's not that great with technology and doesn't know how to use it. And some of those issues have been finding resources, just like Russ. She needs numbers, she needs emails, and she feels like my UNLV should just have a resources tab that lists all the numbers or emails or locations, maps, anything that she would need. And she can never find that. Maps as well. She's always on campus. And although she's been around for 25 years at UNLV, sometimes she still gets a little lost. When using the website, she also wishes there was a chat option. In other websites she's used in the past, there's been a chat option where she can ask questions, looking for a certain tab, and she finds that using the browser, my UNLV, she can never navigate anything. She doesn't know where the right menus are, and she feels like the menus that are already existing are either too vague or end up being something else than what she expects them to be, as well as resetting her password. Every time she signs into my UNLV, it's an automated password that's given to every person, and you're unable to change it. So she can not only remember it, but she always has to reset it. And then when she does, it's a bunch of random numbers and letters that she won't remember for the next time. So our last persona is, let's see, persona number 3, Dexter. He's also known as Tech Dex. Here's a little animation of what I think Dexter would look like. He is an incoming UNLV freshman. So another person that is going to be using my UNLV, but is not technically a student yet, not very familiar with it. He is an engineering major, so he's very, very smart, and he actually has a scholarship for UNLV and was scouted to come to UNLV. So he's very smart, a very big asset to UNLV, and very good with technology. So when using my UNLV, he's run into some issues, one being financial aid. I know that we've had a lot of other students that have experienced this. With financial aid, when you are searching for updates or anything that needs to be completed for your financial aid on MyUNLV, it's usually under the holds, tasks, or to-do tabs, all of which don't send notifications when any changes have been made. And they are both, all of them, sometimes so hard to navigate. And they are also not updated frequently. With Dexter, he says that he always has to check to see if there's any changes or updates made on his account, which essentially sets back his enrollment, his getting his financial aid, and obviously gives him a lot of hassle. So he ends up having to call the office, where sometimes they even give him the wrong information. So overall, he wants the financial aid aspect corrected because it's hard to navigate. No updates are given, no notifications are sent to him once changes are made. And that kind of goes hand in hand with enrollment. He feels the same as Russ does. It's hard to find his degree sheets, his required courses that he can enroll in. Notifications, he feels like, as well as with financial aid, notifications should be sent with anything, when any changes are made to your account for enrollment as well. As well as resources, he feels the same as Professor Stewart and Russ. There's not a clear resources menu where he can find phone numbers or emails or locations. And then finally, since he is an engineering major, he values the overall look and setup of apps, and he feels like it's not very functional and unflattering, not too easy on the eye, and it could be set up in a more professional, flattering manner. So moving on to storyboards and scenarios. Our first scenario is with Russ. He is using our new app, MyUNLV Mobile, to enroll in his next semester classes. So here in board 1, we can see Russ downloading the new app and selecting it. In board 2, this is Russ's screen. After he clicks on the app, he's going to log in using his same account information and select the login button. And on board 3, we have our home screen, the new and improved, and Russ is going to select the academic planning option in the top left. In board 4, we have the academic planning and scheduling page, and below it, we have a list of options. And since we are trying to enroll, he's going to click on enrollment. In board 5, we have the enrollment page, which lists a bunch of other options for enrolling. And remember, Russ likes to keep things quick and easy, as painless as possible, saving as much time as possible. So he's just going to click on enroll by requirements. And in board 6, we have his course requirements for his marketing major. We had the 2022 through 23 fall semester selected. So here we have a list of his required courses that he has not yet taken. And on this page, we don't get to see the times or location or any of the details yet. We're just selecting the classes. So still on board 6, we're gonna have Russ select his classes that he wants to see more details on, and then click view selected courses at the bottom of the page, which takes us to board 7, where we have his selected courses with all of the times and different locations and professors. And here he just has to scroll through and select the specific section class he wants that fits with his schedule. So in board 7, we have the boxes that are checked to the right with his selected classes that he would like to enroll in. And at the bottom, he's going to click the enroll button, which takes us to our last board, board 8. And we have Russ holding his phone here, and he gets a little alert that says successfully enrolled. And he has 2 options under that, view tab or the home tab. And to the right, this is his screen after clicking the view tab. And this is just gives him a list of his 2022 to 23 fall semester classes that he's successfully enrolled in. So next we have storyboard number 2, which is Dexter downloading the new MyUNLV mobile app and changing his password. So first in board 1, we see him downloading the app and clicking on it. Board 2 is his login screen using his same login info. Board 3 is his home screen, and here we're going to select the settings option at the very bottom. In board 4, we have the settings page, and on this page, he's just going to click on the change password tab. Board 5 is the change password page, and here he's just going to enter in his old password and enter in his new password twice. After he's done, he's going to click complete at the bottom, and then a little alert is going to pop up on his screen seen in board 6, just notifying him that his password was successfully changed and that he must re-sign in to continue. So in board 6, he's going to click on OK below, which takes us to board 7, and he just has to re-sign in to continue using the app. In storyboard in scenario number 3, it's kind of a add-on to the previous storyboard, and this is Dexter enabling his notifications. So we're going to start on board 4 as seen in the last storyboard, where he signed in and everything and he clicked on the settings option. So after clicking on the settings tab as seen in board 4, he's going to click on the manage notifications option at the bottom. And in board 5, we see a screen where it just says enable push notifications, and then he's just going to make sure that the box to the right of it has a check mark in it. And once he selects that in board 6, he's going to get a little alert again telling him that his notifications were turned on successfully. And then he has 2 options, one being OK and one being return to home, where in board 7, he's going to click on OK, and then he's taken back to the manage notification screen where once again he can see that his notifications are turned on, and then he can also just click on the home button right below it to return to home and continue using the app.
So now we're in the implementation plan. During the past weeks, our team has collected helpful information provided from some of the UNLV students to help develop a more user-friendly and efficient MyUNLV app. We gathered a list of strategies and tactics that will help overall performance of the application. Our group organized the feedback from the students and created a list of specific objectives. So the first one, having the ability to reach out to software developers from UNLV. This will help create the application for more user-friendly and setting up the layout to the application easier to navigate through. The second one, our setup on how the application would be laid out and viewed. We could take it to the original IT programmers in order to set up the accessibility to all devices, and the software that makes up the application mirror each other in all devices, so they are similar or identical in or identical in all devices. The second one will be theoretical justification. One of the articles I chose was mapping your innovation strategies. It states that it allows businesses to refine the development process that will lead to a direction that a company wants to move towards to. It is crucial to plan out new innovations and also implement new ideas into the innovation process. As we plan new ideas for the UNLV app, we have different plays in order for us to successfully execute our new innovation for the application. The plays consist of making the application layout more user-friendly, referring back to the section of goals and metrics, making the application accessible, and fixing the layout of the overall app. This will allow students to complete tasks quicker and help create a smoother navigation. The second article I chose, it's called "What is the Best Innovation Bet?" So this states highlights the importance of valuing the consumer's needs. By doing so, it will help create future innovations that will be useful by implementing these demands. Consumer will notice this, and the application fulfills what they are looking for, and it will show that their feedback is being valued. So now we're on business justification. One of the articles I chose for this section was what is disruptive innovation? Being able to have a business division that is appealing to consumers is crucial in order to connect with consumers. Also in the article states since it's a small application, being able to connect with consumers will help MyUNLV grow and be loved by users. since it will be up to date and with new updates. Uh, it is crucial for the MyUNLV app to be updated before other applications. That way, students will recognize this and will be more leaning towards more of the UNLV app than other applications. The second article I chose was Digital Transformation is Not About Technology. Uh, it explains how being able to accept feedback from both internal and external parties, such as consumers and staff, will provide the best changes in order to keep being successful. As we review the feedback from students and faculty, we will do the necessary updates to the applications by making it accessible to all devices, making it easier to use, and providing its functionality. This will allow to the consumers and staff that by changing the app, the overall mindset of the organization and its culture is adaptive in order to be successful.
Moving on to our experience with this project. My experience with this project, I noticed the importance of group discussion and collaboration, mostly with selecting our topic, which I feel like was one of the hardest things. And I just realized that it kind of took us a minute because at first we were hesitant to bounce ideas off each other, but once we opened up and used each other to collaborate, it really helped us move forward. Also, the difference between online and in-person class, having this group project, since we'd never meet in person, I feel like that made things a little bit more challenging for our group as far as meeting and setting expectations at the start of the course. I wish we would have been more clear with that. I think if we would have set a clear timeline and better expectations, we would have stayed a little more on track and a bit more organized. For me, when I did the personas and storyboards, I wanted to use people that obviously would be using the app, which I felt like we picked an app that was fairly easy because I was able to choose like a professor and a student and an incoming student, all of which are different personalities and people that will be using the app and are still do to this day. Storyboards, I enjoy doing because it kind of put into perspective how different it would be to change up the system of MyUNLV and implementing it into an app. And with Figma, that was another challenge as well. It was hard to learn to navigate that and become an expert using that kind of design software.
So my experience with MyUNLV mobile and the overall user design process, it really came down to time management and planning being very critical for this project. I realized group discussion and frequent communication allowed for the team to set assignments for each other, help us critique our work and plan out the project. And I learned that in retrospect, it would have been better to delegate early on and then make a plan than to just work towards the due date. And also, in light of that, when I started to plan and schedule some deadlines for myself, I realized how critical it was when working from home. And by doing so, I had specific items set up so that my group would know when they were done. And they could also depend on me having those sections done in that regard. And also working from home, I realized required much more email and group messaging to supplement when we would actually see each other on campus. And in regards to the user design process, I realized it's very straightforward. Each step builds off of each other, and the focus on the users and the user data made brainstorming and identifying solutions a lot easier. By interacting with the users and then looking at those observations, organizing it, identifying different pain points, creating the personas, creating the storyboards, made it much easier to develop MyUNLV mobile and create what we proposed today. And thank you for your time.